pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the Union City Community Schools Board Meeting. Our meeting agenda is available for you to follow. The expectation for our board meeting is to follow this agenda closely. We operate under the Open Meetings Act and utilize Robert's Rule of Order to govern our discussion and decision-making process. There is an opportunity for public comment during our set agenda. We welcome the public to express their opinions during this time of our agenda. If there are questions about the agenda or the board meeting process, please seek out one of the board members for clarification. It looks like we have an addition of an action item to our agenda for a bus driver hiring. Do we have any other additions or deletions? I do know that we'll need to move our closed session, which is action item 6F and 6G, the evaluation, to the end of the meeting after board roundtable so that we can just have that meeting and people don't have to stay unless they want to just hear the results of that and see us adjourn. So.
Any motions for?
Oh yeah, I have a motion for the same.
I'd like to make a motion to move 6F and G after the board roundtable.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries.
And we need a motion to add that item to the agenda.
Oh, sorry. And a motion to add the action item for the bus driver hiring.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same, and that motion carries as well. Now we can go to the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as shared.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion?
Congratulations to Mr. Duke, and thank you for the time for the gentlemen that are leaving.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Correspondence. Did we have any correspondence this month for us? No? Okay. Public comments. This is a section of the meeting in which the public may make comments or share their opinions about items on the agenda. We ask you to limit your comments to no longer than 5 minutes per person to allow others the opportunity to speak. This is an opportunity for the board to listen to your concerns. It is not board practice to act on the concerns voiced during this meeting to allow for the board to do further research. Do we have any public comments tonight?
Please, I'll talk. Tate's not here, so somebody's got to talk. Well, I really wanted to talk specifically to one of them. She's not here, and just say to Jen Searles, this is still online, isn't it?
Yes.
You'll see this, so if she's here, she's listening or watching or at a later time. Just wanted to thank Jen for the work that she's done over these last 6 years. I remember when she got elected, I was very, very happy that she was elected. I worked with her for many years before that, and I knew she'd do a great job on the school board. I didn't always agree, but I know she always meant having school first, whatever she decided. And also, just not just her, but you guys have all done a great job. I appreciate all the work that you guys do. It's been a great school year. The last couple of years, I have to tell you guys, have been a rough couple of years, but this year's it's been a really good year. It's been a really good year. Appreciate the work that you do, Mr. Katz, and school board members, especially Amber, the principals. It's been a really good year, and just think things are going on the right track here. So, Merry Christmas, all you guys.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna leave, but don't take it personally. There's a basketball game over there. So.
We think we should request that he be on camera when he speaks. So.
Oh, yeah. Just
He
face
was
that
on
for a
camera.
moment so everyone at home can
yeah, he got it.
enjoy
All right.
what we're
For the one
enjoying.
person that watches it at night.
If anybody wants pictures later, I'm gonna charge them $10.
Ooh.
Thank you for not giving your name. Appreciate that.
No problem.
No.
My name is Darren Lamar. Good night, guys.
Oh, good night. Thank you for your comments. Do you have any other public comments this evening?
So we can talk
about anything on the agenda now? Because there's spots on here, 2 different places for
Correct.
public comment.
Mhm.
Okay. The podium or not, Scott did, so. I was asked to come here and speak about the graduation date of 2023. For those of you that don't know, my daughter Brighton Torres is student council, student body, as well as class president, and she couldn't be here tonight. And then I don't know where this letter went, but I know that Mara Bailey, the vice president for the class of 2023, had also written a letter. So I'm not sure where that had gone. The students are very concerned about, as well as the families. Not sure how this came about, how it was communicated. I guess for me as a parent, that's a little frustrating. I think that more parents would attend school board meetings. Is this posted somewhere? I guess I'm really not informed. So that's on me. But if there's a posting somewhere, I guess I need to find out. But again, it's really inconvenient. I'm not sure why tradition is being changed. The students don't want it changed. The families don't want it changed. Why would we have it in the middle of the week at 7 o'clock at night? You know, people are gonna have to miss work. You know, other students are still having school. So there are kids that have to go to school the next day, and we just really would like to, you know, publicly say that these last few years for these kids have been kind of crazy, and they were really looking forward to that tradition. Having it on the weekend that we have it, it's a holiday weekend. We're used to people being able to travel that weekend to come in for graduation. A lot of kids plan their graduation party on the same weekend or right after graduation. They won't be able to do that now. You know, Thursday night, I would really hope that the board considers everything that's involved. I know that you guys don't make decisions lightly. I'm sure there's a reason. It would be nice if we knew what it was, because there's a lot of, you know, factors at play. Yeah, I just wanted to publicly say that we really aren't in favor of that change. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Any other public comments this evening? All right. We are going to move on now to action items. Board action is required to approve the financials for the month ending November 30th, 2022, and I would entertain a motion for the same.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Action item B, bus driver aid hiring. Board action is required to approve the hiring of Marissa Lampum as a bus aide. I would entertain a motion for the same.
So moved. Support.
Discussion?
I can't imagine this is a huge hit to our budget, but I assume we can afford to do this. It wasn't
Yeah,
part of the initial
it's,
plan.
we are short a driver right now. We're running on 6 routes when we rather, or 6 routes when we had 7, we reduced because we didn't have a driver. And because of that, a couple of our routes have really high numbers. So since we haven't been able to hire a driver, she asked if we could hire an aide, which is less expensive, who could ride and help manage some of those larger loads. So that's what we're doing here.
She can start soon.
She's actually already started, so.
I love how that works.
Yeah, well, technically I can hire them, but yeah, it's kind of by policy. And then the board approves it.
Well, based on her performance, should we hire her?
Yes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Neola policy 5136 revision, student cell phone policy. We had our second reading, and board action is required to approve the policy as presented. I would entertain a motion for the same.
You can't say support, you gotta say so moved.
So moved.
Support.
Start.
Discussion.
Thanks for changing it to principal. I think it was his high school principal, but it's building principal. Yeah, and I assume if there's a problem, we can change it later, but it just goes in line with our handbook.
Any Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same, and that motion carries. Action item D, construction project contract approvals. What is our current situation there?
So, the situation is that the construction manager has been working with the subcontractors. They have contracts in place with the subcontractors that they have agreed upon. What's lacking is getting all the paperwork done, all the legal contract done between the construction manager and the district. And our attorney is waiting for information from performance services attorneys in order to be able to finalize the contract to give it to us. And unfortunately, performance services has just 2 attorneys, and they had a number of projects, and now their whole company apparently takes 2 weeks off at Christmas, and so now they're off for 2 weeks. And so what was recommended, and our attorney recommended this particular motion is, the numbers are the same. The numbers will not exceed what you were given in the workshop. And the motion they recommend is, if you look in your, at that item for recommended motions, if you approve those motions, then when they do get the paperwork finalized and our attorney approves it, and it's all set, then I can go ahead and sign it at
Okay.
that time. We don't have to wait for the contracts to be ready for the board to act. We can have you act now, and then once the paperwork is all finalized, I can sign it.
Okay, all right. So, that being said, I'll entertain a motion for the board action is required to approve the contracts for the bleacher and middle school heating and cooling projects.
Yeah, it has to be the language that's listed there under recommended motions.
Oh,
Has to
not
be-
what's on our paper?
No, it's on there.
It's not on the paper,
Okay. Just a
it's,
second then, hang on.
for whatever reason, that doesn't show up on the printed copy.
I make a motion that we authorize Superintendent Chris
Oh, there you
Katz
go.
to sign the contract, subject to review and approval by the district's legal counsel with performance services, in an amount not to exceed do I have to read it all?
No, you don't have to read it all.
Okay. Then I make a motion as presented in our packet to approve based, pending the approval from legal counsel.
Is there support?
Support.
So now, is that just the HVAC, or is that
For both.
cover both of them? Okay,
The bleacher project and the middle school HVAC project.
okay,
Any discussion?
Question,
yes.
what could the legal counsel change that would be of concern to us that we wouldn't want to approve it based on what they're gonna change? I'm not sure what they would do that would make it, they can't change the dollar amount, what can they change?
It's the terms of the contract, who's responsible for this and that, when, if there's something that doesn't go right, who's responsible. There's a lot of language in there. Most of it has already been agreed to ahead of time. So they put together contracts back in March or April, with the actual language for the contracts. So then, as we got to the point where we actually settled the dollar amounts and got all that put together, that information, the specifics that have been worked out about the projects needs to be put into, it's really a matter of copying and pasting, is really all that has to happen. And it's just something that only the lawyer can do. Michael from Performance Services told me, he says, I could do it, but I'd get fired if I did it. It's their lawyer has to be the one that says, here it is, all finalized. And once that goes to our lawyer, he'll just go, yeah, this is what we already agreed on, it's good, and then I can sign it. Is how it should work.
Okay. So the risk is very low for us to approve this before it's ready to be approved. Because we have a lawyer in our court.
Yeah, we are not gonna, I'm not gonna sign anything. Obviously, by your motion, I won't be able to. But I wouldn't sign anything unless our attorney approved it. Yeah.
I will also say that I'm disappointed that we only have 4 members making a huge financial decision, even though we've discussed it, and I believe everyone is on board from the workshop, but it's unfortunate that we don't have the full board making this motion, because it's a huge decision.
Mhm.
And for those that don't know, I mean, the middle school improvements are necessary to breathe over there. It's stifling hot, and most of those are being covered outside of our sinking fund.
Yes.
So that's good, but the bleacher project is a big deal. And if we don't do anything, it's not gonna last 5 years. And if we do something, it should last 30. So I don't know how we can not do it. I wish it wasn't this expensive, but really badly, because there's other things I'd like to do with the money too. But I don't think sitting and waiting for 6 years to see if the price goes down is a logical thing to do. So I think we just need to move forward and be excited for the community and get this thing done right. My soapbox is broken. I'm done.
Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same, and that motion carries. Move on to hiring of the middle school assistant wrestling coach. Board action is required to approve the hiring of Randy Widener as the middle school assistant wrestling coach. I would entertain a motion for the same.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion?
It's an easy one after the last one.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. And as noted before, we're moving the closed session and evaluation down after board roundtable. So let's move on to discussion item.
No, we have that bus driver.
Oh, sorry.
The one
Thank
we
you.
added, yeah.
The bus driver. Board action is required to add a bus driver to the fleet of bus drivers.
Make a motion that we
Kristen
hire
Marvel.
Kristen Marvel as a bus driver, effective immediately. Effective yesterday. When did you hire her?
She actually completed her training Saturday and she drove today.
Effective today. Effective this morning.
Is there's-
We actually been paying her during her training, so.
Did you start a training?
Effective blank. I moved that we hire Kristen Marvel
Support.
officially.
Discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Yeah, typically, when we do the training, we hire them, we pay them a training wage while they're getting training, getting certified, and then when they're ready, so we can actually make them a driver, we bring them to the board.
So we're down one bus driver plus the backup, which Brian was.
This driver will allow us to stop having Athens bring our go-ahead students back in the afternoon, so we have somebody to replace the route that Brian had been driving, but Deb is still driving. So we're still, and we're still hoping to hire at least 2 more. One to take the route Deb's driving, one to add in the route that we've missed, so that Deb can actually be in the office and take all the phone calls that come in. We've actually had some people, like I think Jamie's volunteered and is going down and taking phone calls in the bus garage for a couple of days. So people are trying to help out and stuff, because it's difficult when she's on the road and she'll get a call or something like that. She obviously can't answer the phone on the road. And Brian used to cover those phone calls when he wasn't driving. So we're just really thin right now, but we do have another driver who used to work here, who had to leave for medical reasons, and that person may be interested in coming back after the first of the year. Deb's told me she's looking into that, but and we have I think 2 in training, two new ones that have just applied, and Deb would like to start training them, so we're hopeful. I don't know how she does it, but Deb keeps us going. I keep expecting to have a day where she calls me and says, I've got 3 people out sick and we don't know how to get kids here, but I haven't had it so far.
Thank you to Deb.
Okay, so bus purchase rotation plan.
Yeah, I put the plan there. I hope you had a chance to look at it. I put in 3 different sort of options. You asked for one where we would move forward with a purchase next year, and one where we skipped next year. And I added a third option that kind of went by the idea that we would skip a year and then buy 2 years in a row, and then skip a year and buy 2 years in a row. Basically, we need to have, for what we would like to operate, we would need 8 buses in use full-time with 2 spares. That's how we would like to be operating right now, if we had the drivers for 8. We have 7 that we actually need every day with our current routes. We have our local routes plus somebody running a route to and from the, so we have 6 routes locally, and then the route to and from the career center. So that means 7 buses we're running every day right now. But we want to get to 8 every day. So I base this off of 8 buses every day. And the other thing is that Midwest had recommended that as a general principle, a bus would be in regular service for 10 years, and then move into a spare category after 10 years. So I've tried to base it off that as close as I can. The first option would have us purchasing a bus, a single bus each of the next 4 years, and then we would have 4 years without any new purchases. And then that would get us to the point where at 2031 to 2032, the buses we just bought, the 22, a year ago, that we bought a year ago, the 22 buses, would then at that point be 10 and 11 years old. So they would move into spares at that point. So that's what the idea was, to make it so that the buses we bought, the 2 buses we bought in 22 last year, when they get to be 10 years old and 11 years old, they could become spares. And so I tried to build it off of that. The third option doesn't, it kind of gets there. Actually, they all make it eventually by 2033 to have that happen. It's really a matter of how you would like to proceed. My recommendation is to continue with the first one and to buy 1 bus next year. I've talked with Sarah about this. That is her recommendation to me, and I agree with it. We had just, 2 weeks ago we got that check from the ISD, $88,000 that we were not expecting in transportation funds, which will cover. I know.
What do you?
Don't.
I don't understand, but okay, great.
Sarah, could you explain how that money comes to be? I don't know.
So there's bonus transportation money we received, it was 2 years ago, we received that, but they let me know by the end of the year. And then they also said, we don't plan on doing this again, so, okay. Well then, there was no communication whatsoever about this one, and it just showed up.
And we had a
And it was supposed to be for
45,000.
last year, and we got it in November.
We had a $45,000 one.
And that was, that was supposed to be for, transportation for.
Seems like a mismanagement of funds somewhere, like how can you
Yeah.
not
But
plan?
it's, I mean, if they don't
Not you.
communicate it with me, then I don't know that it's gonna happen, especially when we don't get it till how many months after the end of the year.
But, you know, I mean, I guess my belief is that we're at a 20% fund balance right now. The state funding has been very good the last 2 years. If we don't purchase and we put it off and we try to say, okay, we're gonna delay for a couple of years because we're not sure, you know, we may find ourselves 4 and 5 years from now, state might have cut funding by then. And then we will feel like, well, we really can't buy because the state's cutting funding, and then we'll be in a bind because our buses will be too old, whereas if we take advantage of the money while we have it and use it where it needs to be used, then we can get some of these older buses off the road.
I could talk about this for a long time, but I'll try to be brief. I would like to see an option 1-3 mix, like, so we buy a bus next year and then maybe every other year after that instead of 4 in a row and then 4 with nothing, but so we're not signing up for a bus every year if you don't have to.
Well, this is just, this is a guidance, this is not something the board would have to vote on. So this is just kind of to give you an idea of how we can proceed, but obviously each year the board, when it comes time to purchase, can decide, nah, I know we planned that, but maybe we should wait.
I'm just giving you feedback on your guidance.
Absolutely, I appreciate
Second
that.
thing is there also could be some movement of buses based on mileage in terms of one route gets a lot more than another, or one goes to Void every day, so there's that piece of it too. And the last thing I'd like to throw in there is a question, doesn't have to be discussed at length today, but is there a need to have a small bus that doesn't require a CDL driver that could be used for, I mean, my daughter had a cheer competition and there was like, I don't know, 10 people in it and they had a full-size bus because they didn't have a smaller bus, but just
Okay.
don't know if that's an option or something we need to look at.
So there is a state law that says that any vehicle that seats over, what was the number? 10? Any vehicle that seats over 10 people cannot be purchased and driven and owned by a school other than an official school bus. And any official school bus has to be driven by a driver with a CDL. So in other words, we looked into what we started to look into, could we buy one of these large passenger vans that would hold 14, 16? It's actually against the law for schools to drive those and have students ride in them.
Well, I have a question about that because there are public schools all over the place that drive those around. I know Sturgis uses them to transport children. Like a friend of ours actually drove one of the vans for a basketball game. So how?
You should be in jail.
It's against the law.
I can show you the law, like there's a legitimate law.
And our attorney confirmed it.
That's crazy.
They're breaking
Take
the
that,
law.
Jen. Now what are you gonna do?
No, I know, we have discussed this, you
Yeah.
and I have discussed this, but I'm just saying how can other public
I know,
schools get
that's
away
what I
with
said
that?
too. I said, we see the people do that.
Yeah,
How do they do that? They break the law.
gotcha, okay.
It is not illegal if some private person owns one of those and we let our kids ride in that with them and take them somewhere.
So if
That's
Jen-
perfectly legal.
If Jen bought a van, let the keys share with you, then we're good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give the keys out like that, but if Jen would like to loan the keys to somebody who will drive a group of students and the parents. I'm just saying that.
Because you're the newest one here right now.
We have the,
It's
when-
initiation.
when kids ride with other parents, they have a permission thing they sign. And parents can take groups like that, and private citizens can take vehicles and do that. But we as a school cannot own a vehicle and transport kids that way. I don't know the reason went into place, maybe it was the bus drivers union that put that in, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but basically,
Would Sturgis's lawyer be the same as our lawyer? I mean, they're school lawyers, right? I mean,
if they use Trune, yes, they would be.
we could ask Trune.
If Sarah hadn't known the law and they had asked me, I would have said, hey, let's go ahead and buy one of those. Because I wouldn't have known that, I wouldn't even have had any concept that it
I just
was.
think it's worth asking the question if they know why they got, maybe they do have a private citizen that bought it, maybe who knows what, but I just,
Yeah, I can
without
ask,
trying to tattle on people, at least try to figure out
Yeah, that
what.
was not meant to be a tattle.
I could ask our attorney how other schools do that.
No, sorry, Sturgis.
It's the Sturgis Trojans, they're
They're orange and brown.
Because it would be very convenient on many occasions to have like the cross-country coach drive the bus with it, or the little vehicle.
And come cheer.
So one of the biggest issues was
auto insurance won't cover health and liability and like.
Auto insurance.
Our carrier of insurance won't cover that. Maybe we could find somebody that might. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, we can't not insure it, but I don't know, I didn't wanna get too far off track, but I thought that was worth discussing. Thanks, Jen.
We could ask all of our coaches and staff to get CDLs. Right?
That's a little much, I think. Okay, I think if we have $80,000 to spend in transportation and we can't find bus drivers, I guess we should spend it on a bus. We've got buses that are 10, 15 years old, so I think that makes sense for the first year. I just wonder
Well,
if we need to buy them every year, if we should take a break for a year and then buy, I like the 1 and 3 mix with next year being a bus purchase year, but that's my
buying one next year and then, well, I can put that together, bring it back and show you what that would look like.
my opinion. Whatever you guys think.
So are we looking at the 2023 year being like January or now for 2023?
Well, we would be, if we ordered it in the next month or two, it would be probably December or October, November before we got it. The ones we ordered last December, we got in September. So,
And pricing changes January 1st.
I haven't heard that information.
It's already gone up like 3
last
times.
year they told
I
us
know.
that,
Last year they did say that.
and it did go up by,
A lot, seems like.
yes, $20,000.
Yeah.
From which was a good thing, we ordered the 2 in December, because in January, it would have been $40,000 more. So they did go up a lot. Will they go down this time because they want, I don't, but we can talk to the, but at this point, I don't think we're prepared to have a motion for a purchase today. So
Right,
it'll be
right.
January before we decide to purchase.
Okay, right.
But I'll bring it back, and so you wanna look at buying one next year and then like alternating every other
Sure.
year?
Or what you did here, 2 in a row off, because you can't alternate every other year and still make your 10-year thing, but you can buy 2 off one, or buy one 2 years in a row, then take.
Well, another reason I was looking at continuing and buying every year right now is that we are exploring with the retirement of our mechanic. We're looking at other options as opposed to hiring a mechanic full-time. Other districts around us, like Homer and Athens, do not have a full-time mechanic. And so we're looking at how we can have our drivers handle some of which they are already doing now, handling some of the fluid checks and those things that are done on a regular basis. And then have a company that we can contract with to do oil changes and other basic maintenance. So since we're outsourcing that, the more of those things that have to be, the older the buses, the more the repairs are, the more money we're putting into older buses. So by saving money on a mechanic, it's almost in some ways less expensive to invest that money into newer equipment, so you don't need the mechanic.
Again, I try not to take this till midnight here, but one option that I gave to Rana years ago that I thought would be great is if we can get a shared service that, a person who either is at Athens or Union City or Concha or all, just isn't full-time anywhere, so we don't have to pay for a full-time person, but we still get a more rapid response potentially. I don't know if I don't think she reached out when I talked to her about it. I don't know if something you could reach out to some of the superintendents to see if that's something they'd be interested in or not.
Yeah, I've asked Deb to explore that actually with Athens in particular. She knows them and knows the mechanic over there. But we did have courtesy come in because we had several buses that were from the inspection that was just a couple of weeks ago. We had several buses that were either red tag or yellow tag. They were all spare buses. And courtesy came down and just knocked them off, took care of a number of things within about a day and a half. They were all taken care of. So we have one remaining issue that they had to order some parts for, but other than that, so they've been very helpful to us.
That's all I got.
All right, now on to our, oh, did anyone else have anything that they wanted to discuss about buses?
Sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just wanted to double check before we moved on that I wasn't cutting somebody off. In our information area, Community Unlimited.
Evening, everybody. I was going to introduce Chelsea Lawton tonight, the executive director, but she's sick and will not be here. So I'm going to provide quick points about what she was going to present on. She's been the executive director at Community Unlimited a little bit over a year now. And they applied for a large grant to the state of Michigan to provide after-school funding for our district, and they were able to win it. And I think they found out last week. So the elementary, middle school, and high school all have funding for after-school programs starting January 9th, going to May 15th. 5 days a week for 2.5 hours after school every day. Extension of lessons, club-like activities, stuff they're just trying to provide students a chance to kind of extend their learning here at the school for the 2.5 hours afterwards. So each school now is in the process of contacting students, sending out information, trying to get students signed up for that, knowing that when we come back in January, it's going to start up right away. So I believe she's going to come back in January and February to share some more details of it, but fantastic grant that we were able to win. It can provide some extended learning for a lot of our students who need it after school.
Great, thanks for that update.
We've had that in the past, but not for high school, have we?
We had it last year for middle school and elementary, but not high school, that's correct.
Jewel litigation update.
Can Community Unlimited buy a van?
What?
I imagine they could.
Okay. Just checking.
The Jewel litigation, we just were notified that they reached a settlement agreement with Jewel. And as far as any details about what will come out of that to our district as a result, I do not know at this time. They will be letting us know in the future when that all gets handled, but you have the announcement there. I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Was this a litigation, when did that get entered into? Do you know?
I believe it was during Rana's first year.
Board approved it.
The board decided to join the class action suit. That's about all the details I have on it. It was directed toward Jewel's marketing toward youth and the impacts that it was having on schools and other facilities that work with youth. And so it's across the country. There are, probably thousands of entities that have joined that suit. So we may end up with $1.95. I don't know what will come as a result of it, but
Okay,
yeah.
all right. And next, graduation date, 2023.
So this is the graduation date is something that the high school sets, and Amber and I have talked about this in the past. She made a recommendation to me, and I have to admit I like the idea of a Thursday graduation. The biggest reason is, well, two things. Actually, Thursday graduation used to be the tradition in Union City. It was Thursday graduation when I was in school, and through most of the 80s. I'm not sure exactly when it got changed to the Sunday Memorial Day weekend. But one thing we get complaints about every year with Memorial Day weekend is that it disrupts the opportunity for families that like to travel and go away for Memorial Day weekend each year. That they don't have that option, and so that a number of families aren't able to, either they lose out on a vacation opportunity, or they come to graduation, or they miss graduation because they've got something that they need to go to. And so that was the reason for making the change to 7 p.m. on a Thursday. Obviously, if the board does not want us to make that change, then we'll go back to the drawing board on it. But that was the rationale.
I can't speak to what happened in the 80s, but I think it's nice to have it on the same day every year so everyone knows, even if if they don't like it, at least they know what to expect, personally. And I think Sunday afternoon is the perfect time to have graduation. I don't know, you can work around it with open houses and everything else, but. So I would vote to not change it myself. But
I know my husband came to school here, and in '84 was when we graduated. It was on a Sunday
Was it?
at that time. And I'm kind of with Darren. It is something that you know about a year or more in advance, especially if it's the same day every weekend or every year. And also the situation with if I had family coming in from out of town, that's a good thing too, to have a weekend for family to travel as well. I would really want to think about it, I think a little bit more, and I guess I know there are other schools that do it on a Thursday night, or some in our area do it on a Thursday or Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to hear what they find is beneficial for that. I mean, other than the getting away from the Memorial Day. If we just want to get away from Memorial Day, we can still have it on a Sunday, just have it the next weekend, or the weekend before. I'm not a fan of a weekday graduation, personally. That's my personal opinion.
I would agree with that.
Is it okay if I speak up?
Mm-hmm.
Every year since I've been in this position, I've had numerous parents and staff members complain and ask, can we please move graduation? Can we please move graduation? It is inconvenient for a lot of people in our community because we have several staff members who can never attend graduation because they have a standard family trip that is like a larger part of their family than just in their homes. It just interferes right in the middle of the holiday weekend. So I would really like to see it moved away from Memorial Day weekend, just because of the number of concerns and requests that I've received over the past 3 years. I do believe that 5 months is enough time for people to make arrangements and accommodations. So whatever date we land on, I think this is an adequate amount of notice, 5 months. And also one of the pieces that we discussed was moving away from this Sunday. We have conflict with 2 other Big 8 schools already on the Sunday where we currently have our graduation. So most of the schools around us have graduation on the Sunday that we currently have, or the one after. So there's conflict there for anybody with students in other districts. So.
When is the senior's last day?
Oh goodness, it's a number. May 19th, I believe, 16th. It's a number.
Okay.
It's a week. Yeah.
Dates are usually numbers.
It's like it's like 10 days before Memorial Day weekend. Yeah. They have a week off from
Yeah, that would be the 19th.
their last day, then they have a week off, and then, right.
And the Thursday date that we discussed, we made sure it was a date that didn't conflict with any athletic events. We just wanna make sure that our graduation is an event that as many people can attend as possible.
course.
And that was the intention behind
Right.
looking at alternative dates for graduation.
We looked at, I mean, it couldn't be the weekend before. We need more time from the time seniors are done so we need a little more time than that. And so then the weekend after, now you're getting into June, and I don't know, we just thought that the Thursday night was the best option to try to meet all those needs. But we just did recognize that people like, if they travel from out of town, maybe coming in on the weekend works well for them. There are pros and cons of both directions, and maybe if this, I didn't think of this as being as big a tradition as I've heard expressed here tonight. But if it is something is that a much of a big tradition that we need to stick with, maybe we need to have more time before we look at or take a longer term look at, I think any time we might consider changing it, though there will probably be some people that won't like that change. Whereas there will be other people who will say, all right, you know, now we can go away for the weekend.
Could we say that for this year, we'll keep it where it is with the intention of serving community a little bit, getting some more specific input, like looking at other districts around us besides the big 8 schools?
That's what I want to
Coming
do.
up with just an alternative date other than a weeknight, it doesn't sound
And
like
my feeling is that people do plan and people have planned, and I have people that book my place, they've been booked for a whole year. They do, but people know.
For open
they-
houses?
Yeah, they do plan a year ahead. It's exciting, they got the family, all has plane tickets and whatnot. I don't think it's a good idea to do now. I think it's a really bad idea to have it on a holiday weekend, I think it's awful. And the staff that came to me said, yeah, I wanna go, but we go away it's a holiday weekend. I don't know why we have graduation on a holiday weekend. I thought it was really weird too. I had to interrupt my plans 2 years ago and come back. So but I think it's too late this year, but if you could check, and people they do need time.
I don't think we need to be in the business of asking for everyone's opinion because you're gonna get everyone's opinion. But I think the most important opinion is the seniors, in my opinion. So I don't know if that's the way we could, and I understand it's great to get community feedback, but it's the seniors and their families that we're doing this for. So if they prefer to do it on a Thursday, then fine. You know, I don't know how to canvass them appropriately or whatever,
On a
but,
Thursday or on a Sunday?
what's that?
If they prefer to do it on a Thursday or a Sunday?
Whatever day they want. It's their
Okay.
graduation. I don't care. As long as we can get it done, you know, it's for them. You know, but you're never going to get all the same answer if you ask. Is my problem.
No.
I think the most important people are the seniors and their families. The rest of them, okay. But
And I agree with you, however, if we ask the one group of seniors, the next group is going to expect to be asked too, and if we decide to move it, I'd like to move it and leave it somewhere.
Mhm.
So I don't know that every year we wanna play around with.
I realize that I'm not giving you a solution. I'm just giving you information. So and I'm sorry it's not. But so yeah, you're not going to make everyone happy.
Well, it sounds like you understand that the problem with Memorial Day weekend. And despite tradition, it is a problem. We get massive numbers of complaints every year. But you don't think necessarily a weeknight is the answer.
I don't.
Not necessarily, I
So-
don't know.
I don't have a problem with you asking everyone. I just don't want you to get annihilated by everyone because you're going to get 18 different answers. I don't know how
So
you're gonna, I don't know how you're going to get a solution because
What I'm hearing
I
is you
I have
would,
no problem with you if you want to change it as long as you get enough people that want to do it.
what I'm hearing is you'd really like for us to go back to Memorial Day weekend this year and revisit this over the course of the next year. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's my feeling. I want it
That's
moved,
how I would
but-
feel about it as well.
Yeah.
I don't think to change it to a Thursday for 1 year, then just to go back to a Sunday.
No,
I don't think that's appropriate.
we don't want to do that.
This might be an odd question, could we do a Saturday graduation?
The difficulty there is that time of year there are
Oh.
baseball tournaments, state
Track.
tournaments, state
track
meets.
meets,
Yeah,
which those are on Memorial Day weekend too.
I don't feel comfortable making the decision. You know, it's not my decision to make. It's the seniors and yours. You know, so whatever you guys think is best and people
Well,
want.
yep.
So
Did-
how's
I
that?
don't think
Not
that helped
great.
much as
No, you're
far
right.
as discussion and
No,
guidance, did it?
No, I think it did help. I think it did help.
I don't know, could you could do little polling things, ask the seniors.
Yeah,
Oh no, you'd ask the seniors'
we
moms.
could.
Right?
That's what I was going to say is we could ask the seniors, but we're probably going to hear what their parents think.
Yeah,
Is
which is
you know.
just as good.
But they kinda know what mom has planned.
Yeah, you're
At the
right.
public comment, you can talk again.
But it's not, and I agree that it is for the seniors, but there's also
I asked my daughter, who's a senior, I asked her how she would feel about it. She says, I don't care, just have it whenever you want.
So
That's what she said to
She said,
me.
I don't care vote, okay.
And
That
so
would be some
I
of
said,
those.
well, I'd rather have it on a Thursday night. I'd rather not have it on Memorial Weekend. She says, okay, whatever. So you'll get different answers from.
Daryl's
Any
call.
other discussion?
I think it's,
We're not trying to attack you.
Oh, no, I don't feel attacked. It's a
No.
great conversation.
I
No.
understand that.
we actually debated whether how we should put this to the board. Should we bring it as information or discussion or what we should do? And I said, look, we'll make it information, and believe me, if they want to discuss it, they'll discuss it. And I knew he would, so.
We just
So,
wanted to open a conversation about the idea of sharing.
right, we just
Yeah.
wanted to bring it here, and so.
None of us are opposed to it, whatever, I just,
No, I'd love to change it. I was really
Look
happy.
in the early, like August for
This year.
2024 graduation date that will not be in Memorial.
Mhm.
go for it.
Yeah.
Anyone that wanted to change and you didn't get to change it, you can tell them to come talk to us.
Maybe we can get something in place so we can announce at this year's graduation what next year's would be. Does that work? Okay.
Put it in the program.
Yes, next year's graduation will be.
That's actually a good idea.
It is.
Yeah.
The sooner you let people know, the better.
Which will be held at the stadium. Features.
Yes.
Weather permitting.
Hopefully.
That would be nice.
Well, with donation box when you enter, please support the bleachers.
Please. Should we sell box seats?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to our next public comment section. This is a section of the meeting in which the public may make comments or share their opinions about Union City Community Schools. We ask you to limit your comments to no longer than 5 minutes per person to allow others the opportunity to speak. This is an opportunity for the board to listen to your concerns. It is not board practice to act on the concerns voiced during this meeting to allow for the board to do further research. Do you have any public comments at this time?
So it was really good to know the reasoning behind it, and that is good to know. I'd never heard any complaints, so that does make sense. I did just wanna clarify that I'm with you guys, I truly don't give a rip. Honestly, if my kid has a graduation, I'll call in to work dead, I don't care, I'll be there, right? So I agree with that, so I just wanted to make it clear that I was speaking on behalf of my daughter.
Sure.
It is the seniors that, yes, it is for us and our families, and unfortunately, I know that other people wanna be involved, it's just not, when I look at what's most important, I really can't see selling to my child, oh, some teachers wanna go on vacation, so we need to move graduation. For me, that's not a good enough selling point to our kids, and when it's my kids that, Rachel's like, I don't care, cool, Chris is like, I don't care. But when my child and, other children that are class leaders are writing formal letters to me and things, then I'm like, that, to me, just as a parent, that's the voice I am listening to. Because you're right, it might be cool to go away for a weekend on Memorial Day, but as a parent of a senior, we have already started looking at booking places for graduation and parties and things like that. And I know that for most things, 5 months does seem like a long time. For graduation, it's really not. So I would respect whatever decision gets made, I really would, because I just appreciate having the opportunity to, like Amber said, have a discussion and say, this is the rationale behind it. It does make more sense, so I'm really glad that I was here and able to hear part of that discussion. But for graduation, it's really, 5 months isn't a super long time when you're already booking venues and things like that. So this has been very informative, so I thank you guys all for your consideration.
Thank you for comments. Any other public comments? All right, we will now move to board roundtable. Does anyone have anything that they want to share tonight?
2 things real quick. One, goodbye, Jen. I agree. We missed. I offered for the record to get her a cake, and she said no. So we will have no Jen goodbye cake because she denied that opportunity. But she'll be missed. And secondly, I don't like to get gushy on us here, but I do want to say thank you to Amber, because I've heard from many people that you've listened, and this is an example of you listening and I don't want to say sticking your neck out, but proposing something, trying to make changes, and I know that change is often not accepted very well, and so I just wanted to say thank you that I've heard great things from many people about how you're working hard and how you're doing things, and so I just wanted to say thanks, even though it feels like you might have been beaten up or whatever, shot down, but that's not the intent, so thank you.
I would absolutely concur with that.
So there's been more than one meeting that I felt like we've attacked Amber, and it's not, and I don't want her to feel that way.
When she and I first started talking about this, which was probably like 3 months ago or something like that, I said, this could be one of those things that's a little, just depends, a little sticky.
She's got 2 exchange students in her house, and I couldn't handle one, so.
I know.
Granted, they're girls, which I don't know if it's easier or harder, but,
It's harder, for reals.
She's used to boys.
She-
Yeah.
she's done a lot, and I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you. That's all.
I also wanted to let Jen know I'm going to miss her on my left side here, and I enjoyed sitting on her left side the year before. She always had very good sound, information and reasoning and thought process, and I will miss her insight. Something else that I wanted to let you know is there will be a new seating chart in January
Is this by request?
by request.
Okay.
And it's
I couldn't take it anymore.
I'm putting Dave and I together. All right, tell me, what's gonna happen here?
So yeah, we're gonna hope to get so Mr. Mathis can hear things a little bit better by having him next to Chris, but everyone else will also be moving as well, so it's okay. Also,
Do we get the preview of this, or is it gonna be a surprise?
oh, do you want to know?
After the meeting.
No,
Okay.
let's just make it a surprise.
Okay. So
I wanna
then,
sit by Paul.
okay. The other thing that I wanted to just put on your radar is with it being the organizational meeting next month, and with having 2 new people that'll be on the board, we'll need to make some decisions on what committees people would be interested in serving on, whether they want to continue serving on the ones that they have been, or they want to switch it up and do something new. Just take a look at those committees when Chris sends out our packet, and we can talk about it at the next meeting in January. So that's it. That's all I got. All right. At this point, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session for the superintendent evaluation. And the only thing that will take place when we come back is we will vote on the evaluation results and then adjourn. So you're welcome to wait, or you're welcome to not. It's up to you. So I would entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries.